When does the song
Yeah,
ever
but it's
stop?
nice and quiet. Okay, I'll stop it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jodo Cast, your home for Star Wars gaming. I'm Joe. Joining me this time is Kurt
Hey.
and Leo.
Hi.
And I don't know if special guest is the right term, but semi-recurring guest is Evan is back.
Alumnus.
You could say that the boy is back in town.
Yes.
Our
I
favorite,
am
our
here.
favorite Bruce Springsteen song, we decided.
These are all inside jokes that refer to things we were saying 5 minutes before we started recording.
Okay, now
So
I'm gonna go off on a tangent before we even get started. And Evan,
Okay.
do you watch the show in Japanese or English?
English.
Okay, so we're talking about My Hero Academia, which he just quoted a second ago. Does it just absolutely bother you that All Might just sounds exactly like Piccolo? Like he doesn't change his voice at all. It's the exact same voice.
I mean, then we'd have to get on Nolan North's case and
I mean,
David Lucas' case.
I mean, we can do that too. I'll be okay with it.
It's fine.
Does it bug you that Zeb sounds like a stormtrooper? You know?
And Wolverine without a English accent.
Yep.
And
well,
Solid
lucky
Snake.
for me, I guess that's one more reason why I should never watch Dragon Ball Z is because I don't have that problem because I watch it in English and didn't have that sort of connection to Mr. Pickles, as I guess he plays, right?
Yeah.
I refuse to
That's
know more.
exactly.
Senor Pickles.
He does look like a pickle.
Hence the name.
This is your home for Star Wars gaming, the show where we talk about Star Wars stuff.
Eventually.
So today we're going to be talking about Star Wars Unlimited, Twilight of the Republic, pre-releases, polls, that sort of thing. But first, Evan, what have you been playing?
Well, lots of things. Other besides Unlimited, I've been. Hey, you know what? Actually, I have finally been assembling the Shatterpoint core box.
Yay!
That thing is done assembled as of today.
Nice.
Thanks.
What kept me so long was that I worked on the terrain first because terrain is my Achilles heel.
So that was kind of a bottleneck behind that the rest of your queue is behind, yeah.
Exactly, yes. And I can't decide which battle droids I hate assembling more, these ones or Legion.
Oh, the Legion ones were way worse, I thought.
Think so? I don't know. Anyways, I enjoyed assembling everybody else.
Leo,
Now,
what have you been playing?
It's boring. Just as far as Star Wars stuff since we last talked, just Star Wars Unlimited.
Kurt, anything other than Unlimited?
Just Star Wars Unlimited. I played uninstalling Outlaws.
I was gonna ask what
you
the
finally pulled that
post-mortem
plug.
was on Outlaws.
I may reinstall in the future after several patches. We will see. But for now, it was not worth the extreme amount of effort.
There is supposed to be a big one coming at the end of the month here, like just before Thanksgiving. So,
I mean, it definitely seems like there will be more and more and more patches because they've still got DLC to release. Besides Unlimited, I also played Outlaws, except I did the opposite and came close to I didn't quite 100% it, but I cleaned up most of the loose ends to the point where I'm like, there's not much else for me to do. And I probably played a little bit of Hunters here and there. And I am thinking about going to a Legion tournament.
Oh.
Ooh.
I have not played Legion since
Before the new rules?
Before the new rules, for sure. I think I played after Adepticon.
I was gonna say, was it
I probably played
Adepticon?
in the summer, but definitely have not played with the new rules. Have not played since moving. There is a tournament coming up. It's some sort of qualifier for LVO or something like that. So it's probably like semi-competitive, but also everyone in the community here seems nice. So it's sort of a question of, am I feeling motivated enough to like get my stuff put together to travel and go to a tournament and see if I can mooch some print and play cards, because I don't feel like
You might want to
printing my own.
like learn or play at least once with the new rules before you roll up to the tournament, I would say.
Yeah, but
At least
also
try
that's
out
like a nice
the
treat for anybody who's playing me, is they'll probably win.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I think for you it would
having
help to
to
like
correct you and teach you all the rules as you play. What a treat.
I mean, I've got like the gist of most of them. It'll just be like the really specifics and granular things, which should get ironed out in like the first half of the first match.
I think as long as you like do a practice by yourself with like the mission setup
Ugh, no
and
thanks. I don't play board games by myself.
and the like deployment rules and like at least an attack roll, like the cover is very different. Like those are the biggest things that you need to have down.
Bethany has played Legion before with you, right?
Yes.
There, make her be your training partner.
I'd rather play, and more likely to get her to just play more unlimited, because she plays that more. We'll see.
Well,
I
if
want
you
to play
go,
Legion again, but like it seems like such a big like. It's more than just like, oh, I'm gonna go play Legion. It's like, oh, I gotta learn a thing. I gotta do the print and play stuff. I gotta like find all my I don't remember how I left it. Where which minis are where. Anyway, that's that. We all attended Star Wars Unlimited Twilight of the Republic pre-release events. Did it? I attended one. Evan, how many did you go to?
Only one also.
Kurt
2.
and Leo.
2 as well. There is
Okay.
still 2 or 3 more events in town this week.
Oh, that
Wow.
wow.
I'm trying to decide. I probably won't go to any of them. Actually, I know I don't. I really don't. I know I won't, because one is tonight and I'm here, not at the event, and the other 2 I'm out of.
That's dedication, folks.
Yeah, same.
and I just realized I'm going to be out of town for the other 2 because I'm going to Twin Cities Con this weekend to see Hayden Christensen and Ian McDermott and John
Oh.
Jackson Miller and Timothy Zahn and Howard Chaykin.
Real life Star Wars.
Yeah,
That's it? Just those people?
just those guys.
Some
Yeah.
old pals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also had a second opportunity tonight, but I'm also on call, so going to organized events is usually not great when you're on call, because it's like, I guess I'm dropping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doing things like that seems like a magnet. You know, if you don't go to it, you're not going to get a call. But if you would go, it would trigger.
Oh, it'll happen.
The
Yeah, it's like a chaos wave.
Yeah, there's one more pre-release tomorrow night in Sioux Falls, so I have to decide if I want to leave work immediately, drive an hour for that, and then drive back, because I'm trying to figure out how long it's going to be, because the pre-release I went to was 4 rounds, best of 3 with a top 4 cut, like Store Showdown style length, which I think everybody had fun, but everyone was like, this was a little long. And so if they do that again on a Wednesday night starting at 6 instead of a Saturday at noon, I don't think that's going to work for anybody.
Yeah,
even the locals.
Yeah, our stores have all taken it these as like really casual events. One did a 4-round event, best of 1, and then you get a prize pack for each win that you get. And then the other store we did, it was best of 3, 3 rounds, and then everyone was guaranteed 1 prize pack, and then you got 1 per win for that one also. So yeah, both, not super long days, real casual. There's no top cut. They even just like did random drawings for a bunch of bunch of prizes too, like some of the token boxes and even the judge promos. Like the judge didn't keep them. Well, he probably kept one set for himself because they had multiple kits for the store.
So let's say what basically what leader base and any notable cards included in those decks we all use for our pre-releases. I'll go first. I ended up settling with Maul, and because I pulled the Petronaki Arena base, which says your leader gets +1 power, but it's only 26 health. I was like, I pulled the rare base. I'm gonna play with it, and it seems like it'll work with Maul. So I did Maul with that. So Maul being a 7/6 when he's deployed with that base seemed pretty good. And I also happened to pull Maul unit, which
Nice.
Works well. And Evan, what did you end up going with?
I had a very interesting set of options between leaders and bases, and I was funneled very strongly towards either red, some combination of um, aggression, cunning, and uh, 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 blue assertiveness, vigilance. And
go gettedness.
I did not have any red bases, so I had to lean towards red leaders, and I just sort of mentally coin flipped and went with Anakin over the Ahsoka promo. And boy, was I glad that I did. And blue base, I don't recall which one it was. Generic milk toast, 30 health, blue base. My pool was just like, you're running red, you're running aggression, FYI. So go from there.
Now, you don't need to get a red base in your pool to use a red base, though.
They should have extra generic bases on hand because it doesn't matter.
That's fair. I could have grabbed, but I'll bury the lead on this one. It was me and one other guy.
So that's too bad.
Yeah, but we had a very
15?
good time.
Yeah,
best of 15.
At least, yeah, you just guys, the two of you just kind of got to hang out and play some games, so that's not the worst thing ever.
You should have done like each of you switching up your leader and base like every round and just play a whole tournament that way.
I kind of thought we might, but after we finished our best of 3, he left, not in a bad way, just like, okay, that was fun, gotta go, bye.
That gives me an idea for new format. You get like a deck of Theseus, where basically you have a huge sideboard that's like 100 cards, and every match you have to replace X number of cards, and those cards can never return to your deck before the event is over. So by the end of the event, your deck is entirely different. Maybe we'll give it another 5 sets so there's a bigger pool.
I don't know. We're getting to the point now where things can get spicy.
Yeah, starting next set is when Twin Suns is 80 deck, 80 cards.
Yeah,
that sounds crazy.
Kurt, what for your first pre-release? What'd you end up with?
Yeah, I ended up doing Ahsoka with a generic green base. I forget the other leader options I had, but based on the cards I had, that one sounded the most solid to me, and it went pretty well too. I ended up going 3-1, which I was happy with. I think I had a chance at going 4-0 because it was doing pretty well. It was close. I don't think I had any real notable cards in the deck because I don't think I got any legendaries or any really interesting rares in the pre-release. But it was not super different from the Ahsoka starter deck, other than there were like some random snail tank and other like separatist type stuff mixed in to get to 30. But yeah, green red went pretty well. I have fun with Ahsoka. She's like, I feel like a solid aggro, and even against stuff like Maul that was like not a great matchup, I was able to like go fast enough to eke out a win. So like it felt good overall. It was fun.
Yeah, my Maul deck, all three of my 4 matches were extremely close and went to 3 games. One of mine I won in a big blowout, but the rest of them were very, very close. I ended up going 2-2. And I think the 2 most memorable things that my deck did for me was now there are 2 of them in the deck just because I'm like, well, I pulled a legendary. It's got Maul on it. I'll put it in the deck, even though most of my cards were generating battle droid tokens, so I never had only one guy on the board, except for in turn 2. When turn 1 I play like a little battle droid, and then turn 2 I can play, now there are 2 of them, to play a 4-cost battle droid for only 3, which is the only time I use that card. And then on top of things, turned out to be really good with Leader Maul, because if he lives more than 1 turn, that's almost seemed like it was always game.
What's it do?
And usually he would die right away.
It gives you like +2/+0.
It gives right, and then just says you can't attack this guy this turn unless they have Sentinel. So I would deploy Maul and then throw that on him, so people couldn't do anything to him. And now because of my base, he was hitting for 9 with Overwhelm. And
nice.
Wow.
If you can like get that off twice, that's pretty good. A lot of times he would die right away, so I'd pull on top of things and just save it for my deploy turn. The one time I did put it on Unit Maul, and then I had Leader Maul tell him to Overwhelm attack 2 battle droid tokens, because that turned Unit Maul from a 5/6 into a 7/6, and the battle droids each only ate 1 of that 6 damage, so that was an Overwhelm of 12, which we were like, that's how that works, right? Because that's outrageous.
Yeah, that's the dream.
So I was like, okay, I really like Maul Yellow, but maybe I just need Maul Red. I don't know. I've been playing around with Maul after that, and I'm like, maybe the yellow cards don't work as well. But it worked well for me in the pre-release, even though I went 2-2.
I did Maul Green for my first one, and it worked really well, all except for my first match. My first match I just got blown out of the water. I had like 3 turns where I did nothing because I had really bad draws, and it wasn't good. So I lost that one, and it was just this was the best of one day, so I had no chance to do another round against this guy to try and. But the other 3 games, I won all 3 of those, and I think for the most part they were not exactly one-sided, but I felt very comfortable in all 3 games. And I really liked, I had a few different ambushers in mine, which were, just in general, ambush is always really good. Like the bread or whatever, for magic. I've heard a few different acronyms proposed for Star Wars for Unlimited, but often they will have an A for ambush. Like that's always it's a great thing to try.
Okay.
And,
so it's
that's
bombs,
like the 5
raid,
keywords.
Yeah, but we're getting more all the time.
No.
In Magic terms, like the 5 core unit types, basically.
It's specifically it's for when you're drafting.
Yeah,
specifically.
Yeah,
go ahead. You tell it.
Yeah,
you tell it.
I'm okay.
They call it's bread is just sort of an acronym to remind. So B is bombs, R is removal, E is excellent
Evasion.
cards. No, evasion.
Yes.
And then honestly, I don't remember what the
It's attackers and
yeah
defenders, like
or
defenders last, attackers first, or duds or dirt.
yeah.
Just, garbage at that point.
But yeah, there's been similar different proposed acronyms for unlimited to sort of be like, here's like the things you should try and draft, and this is the order of priority you should be looking for them. And they always start with B for bombs.
B1s,
Bomb bad.
R2D2,
Even
Fitmon.
peel.
Yeah, Effetmon, staple.
We don't have any
Leo,
of
what
yeah,
those
was
cards.
your...
but yeah,
I guess not.
the A in the acronym stands for ambush, because ambush is just a really good keyword, and it's especially in limited formats, it's really really good. And it's a
If you can do it when Maul Leader
yeah,
is out and get overwhelm
yeah,
on
exactly, and
yeah,
it's an extra good keyword with Maul Leader when you have him deployed.
deployed, yeah.
So that worked well
So,
for me. And then
Leo, what was your second pre-release? What did you end up?
that one I did a Nala say. Not because my card pool necessarily said that that's what I should do, but it's because I went into it saying that if I flip a Nalase leader, that's the deck I'm building. And I got one, so that's what I built. And it did not do very good at all.
Wasn't there another leader you could have used that would have been more made sense?
Yeah, there was. But I said, I went into the event saying, if I pull Nalase, I'm going to build a Nalase deck. So that's what I did.
I feel like pulling a Maul Showcase exempts you from that.
What does that have to do with?
Didn't you do that at that event?
No, that was my prize pack from the first event. I pulled the Maul Showcase.
Oh, I thought that was part of the Never mind. Disregard that.
Yeah, no. That was, I got
You're still on the hook.
Edit that out.
Yeah.
I think if you get a showcase in your pre-release, you are required to play it.
Yeah.
Well, somebody at my pre-release pulled a Nala Say showcase and he didn't play it.
Nice. Friend of the show, Michael, got a Quinlan Voss showcase and used it at that first pre-release.
Yeah, we had two, if you count the prize packs, two pulled at that pre-release, one during the actual event, and then mine from the prize.
Yeah,
packs.
that's a good reason why I should make the trip tomorrow night, is because I haven't got a showcase yet this set.
Yeah, we had one other one at the one I went to on Saturday, the second event. We had one there. Someone pulled an Obi-Wan
hamstring.
Obi-Wan showcase.
Obi-Wan's a nice one. There have been a few Maul showcases locally, which is cool. It would be cool to get one, but
it just, the most insane one to me is guy I follow on socials. He's been a guest on the show once years ago on Clumsy and Random. I always see him posting like he just collects everything that has Maul on it, and then I don't know if he even knew about the game much until I posted a picture of because I bought the Maul playmat, and he was like, "What?" And then I saw the next day he posted like he had bought some packs and got a Maul showcase out of it.
Like right out the
gate.
Like,
I hope you understand how crazy that is. And he was like, yes. Kurt, what did you run for your second pre-release?
It ended up being Grievous Blue. I kind of did not like the mix of leaders that I got. Like, I kind of went in going like, oh, I know I'll get a Maul, and because like he's a common, and it's like I'll definitely do a Maul because that'll be fun. And I did not get one. It was like these weird ones I didn't want to do, like Wet Tambor and Anakin and stuff. So I had like a weird mix, and I had kind of a weird mix of cards. So I ended up doing Grievous because I was like, well, I do have a fair amount of droids and a few blue-black cards that are okay sounding, but it was kind of mediocre. It didn't really come together against the other stuff I was facing. You know, it was like a safe choice, but it didn't really have any like good cards. It didn't have any real bombs, and so it didn't really come together. It ended up going 2-2, which I guess is fine, but it was okay. It was fun to try something different and not just run Ahsoka again. But yeah.
My question that I had, and now I forgot by the time I got to this part of the sentence. I had a question that was going to drive things forward. How do we feel now that we've gotten some hands-on time with the basically the battle droids and clone trooper tokens, and by extension, coordinate and exploit mechanics?
I enjoyed it a lot. Even though I was running predominantly Republic coded cards, it was perfectly easy and a little ludo narratively dissonant to have a decent number of separatist cards in my deck, but it worked fantastically because being able to poop out battle droids, let me keep the board in my favor until Anakin could get out there. So like it worked exceptionally well. I think I pooped out more battle droids than I did clone troopers. Um and I didn't wind up with too many coordinates. I think I only had a couple in my deck. They never really fired off nearly as much. I didn't have any exploits either. I was just happy to have a good number of bodies on the field.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah, I ended up having. I only ever got like 3 droids out at once. One time I had 4 because I remember I was like, I needed to borrow a token from somebody. And it was like, okay, this is nice and fine, and I like having all the little guys out. But one of the guys I was playing against, there's a lot of people playing Newt Gunray. He had so many tokens. I think he had like up to 7 guys out at one time, and it just exploiting stuff, and it was pretty crazy. I was like, okay, that's cool, because I was like, it makes such a difference on how you're approaching. Like if you're trying to get coordinate off, well, what's normally an easy, I'm gonna just crash my guy into your guy, becomes, well, then my coordinate's going off. And if you have like a big, I've got like a big 7 damage guy, but I know he needs that little battle droid to coordinate or to exploit, so do I want to waste my big attack on that guy? Made for some more interesting choices. And I like seeing all the units on the board.
For me with my deck, I didn't the one I ended up building day one didn't really use a lot of I had a couple units with coordinate on them, but it wasn't like I had to try and get that ability off. It was more like if I have this, it's nice. And that's kind of like just how I feel coordinate is in general. Is it's sort of like most of the time, if you've got your coordinate going, you're probably controlling the board and kind of in the lead already anyways. So coordinate just sort of like pushes you over the top a little bit. So I don't know. I never really saw it used super effectively, at least here in limited.
It seemed like the most I saw it was when Ahsoka leader was making use of it, and that seemed like when it was the most impactful.
Yeah, I think so. Like that's kind of how I felt too. Like it, being able to trigger it on her action, like you can use it a lot, and you're worrying about it a lot more rather than having a few random cards to do it.
I never even played against a single person playing Ahsoka. For me, it was more when it hurt me with my opponent's coordinate was there's I'm pretty sure there's some Republic unit that has coordinate and it gains Sentinel.
Yeah, it's a blue infantry of the 212th, I think.
Something.
Yeah, stuff like that can like really surprise people because they ignore the keyword when it's not active, and then you like play one thing and they're like, oh wait, suddenly my whole turn is like messed up in kind of a fun way.
And like so
I
that
want
could
like
kind of snowball a little bit, but
yeah.
Like obviously just having 3 units on the board is your indication that you have coordinate, but I want like either like a flag that pops up or like a light that turns on that you can like switch whenever you reach that point, so you don't forget that, oh wait, I have coordinate now, because like Kurt said, I've been sort of ignoring that up until this point.
That is a thing with collectible card games. Like, and I'm not saying like get good. I'm saying it's something that I know you are. I'm saying that I have very recently fallen victim to that same thing of trying to keep track of a thing that ticks up that you have to keep track of, but then you're so busy with other things that maybe you're not paying attention to that thing that like, oh, I just need one more, and then my thing pops off. But so yeah, it is
Also,
just another thing to track, but that's a thing.
also it'd be fun just to have a thing that like makes a ding and then something lights up.
Yeah, I'll say for me, I
Yes,
kind
that
of
would.
like Leo was saying, like since I was playing Ahsoka,
Leo hates whimsy.
I was really focused on coordinate every round because I always wanted to know if it was up so I could use her, and so I was both for my sake, a little bit for my opponent, but mostly for myself. Whenever coordinate was up or down, I would comment on it, and I was trying to put out tokens, like especially the stuff where it's like, okay, coordinate gives them a +1, or Commander Cody, his +1 turns on for coordinate. I was putting out tokens for all that
I,
stuff, removing them just to make it really obvious.
Oh, I would be
for me
very
especially
frustrated if I was playing with or against Cody, and they had some guys out there. We weren't like marking their stat changes.
I played against some people who weren't marking some of that stuff. It was fine because there were units I was familiar with, but I could see it being too complicated occasionally. They're going up and down. I definitely had opponents who were trying to use coordinate abilities, and I had to remind them, like, no, you only have two. Plo Koon's ambushing, but he's not getting his raid because he's not the third guy, or stuff like that came up. It was fine. It didn't cause a problem, but it was like, I think, not what people were used to tracking.
I had that happen with the one Jedi Starfighter that gets was it +1/+1 when there's a force, when you also control a force user.
Padawan
And so
Starfighter, I think.
there you go. And yeah, I would remember, okay, it's on, and then I'd forget to turn it off when I'd lose my force user, and I had to tell him, since we were super casual, like, oh hey, I hit you for 2, that should only be 1. Go back to 1 less.
Yeah, there was some of that in some of my matches for sure.
Tell you what I did really enjoy that I don't usually like doing is Anakin's ability of exhaust, take 2 damage on the base, and then immediately swing with an eligible unit with a +2. And I'm usually not someone that enjoys hurt yourself to get a thing, but boy, I was able to do some fancy stuff, and I did not care that I had 15, 20, 25 damage on my base. Anakin was wrecking
well,
he gets some big
everything.
you pulled a Resolute also, didn't you, in your kit?
Yeah, the
Yes,
red Venator.
yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes,
So that's
that was one of my, not, I guess, prize, for showing up here, guys. You get a
so
whole bunch of
it
stuff.
wasn't in your actual kit. Okay.
Nope. But
Because
I
I
showed
saw
my
that you
opponent. He
were.
was like, "Oh,
Because I saw you were playing Anakin, and you had posted a picture of the Resolute, and I was all like, "Oh yeah, those go together." But
yeah, that would have been real nice." I was just happy because it was a foil legendary.
I agree on Anakin though. Like, he's not my style. In the second pre-release, he was one of the units leaders I had, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. But then I played against an Anakin, and I kind of saw the power of it because like there's overwhelm units like Dendup's loyalists that suddenly are overwhelming for a lot, and it was like a fair cost for him to damage himself a little bit and damage me a
did,
lot. And the deploy side for Anakin is like crazy. I was like, oh gosh, do I want to attack and put him above 19
Yeah.
and pump him up because he's going to overwhelm my stupid droid? I was like, oh, what's going on? It was really interesting, actually. He seems really good.
yeah, did you?
I've
did you
just
play
messing
against,
around.
Did you play against Brian, Kurt?
No.
Or yeah, I played him with his Anakin deck at the first day pre-release. That was honestly my, other than that match that I got blown out. Like I said, most of my matches I played, I did feel pretty comfortable, but the one I played against him with Anakin, that was really probably my closest one I had. And he was definitely an interesting leader to play against. Very, very powerful. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
like
already
very
now
different from like
thinking.
Sabine, you know.
Yeah, I kind of just want to do an Anakin Red now because I was looking at Stila Guerrera and Saw Gerrera, and I'm like, but like, oh, maybe they would work with Anakin because I think Stila hurts your base. I don't remember what Saw does, but
Oh man, I'll tell you one combo. Like, I was glad that I was running blue for a little bit of extra board control, but my Anakin was out there living his best life, and then end of turn, opponent puts out uh, Dooku, and I'm like, okay, well, this is gonna be the end of Anakin, and that's fine. He's done his duty, but at the beginning of that next turn, I drew a Vanquish, and I was not mad, but I was like, I know because he had initiative. I knew that Dooku was going to swing on Anakin. They would trade, and he only had one unit left on his board, so I was just able to vanquish that guy, and then it was free range. So just man, it felt like aggro city, but the little bit of blue that I had in there just made it like clean house. And I got stomped game one, but then games two and three, like not to be a dick about it, but I kind of did really well on it.
I got stuck using Take Captive as my board control cards. But it was funny, the one game, like he played something, I forget what it was, and I was like, okay, well, I take captive here, and I put it under under one of my big guys, and he's all like, well, fine, I take your guy captive and set my guy free, and then I was all like, well, fine, I take that guy captive and reset my guy free.
we ended up doing something like that with that Prisoner of War card because it's just take them captive if they're cheaper than the guy gets in battle droid. So then we were like going back and forth, like, no, that's my guy, and then our droid army was building up around it.
I've got to say, I feel like just based on pre-release, I feel like the set has a lot more depth than I expected or realized. Like based on previews, it was like, okay, there's a lot of clone tokens, a lot of droid tokens. There's a lot of leaders that like do exploit or coordinate, and it seemed like kind of flat. But actually getting into it, there's so many different cards that are like, well, actually, there's this interesting use for your token, and there's this interesting one, and there was like a lot of cool scenarios that came up in pre-release. And I was like, oh, there's like so much going on with some of these cards that I just didn't realize till I got my hands on them. You know?
I think this set's going to be interesting to draft, just because I did find myself having a little bit harder time building a sealed for this than I did for the last set.
Same.
Because I feel like there was a lot of like really obvious like things to do in Shadows, like, oh, I got a CAD leader, all right, I just slap all the underworld guys in this deck and boom, I'm done, you know. Whereas like there isn't so much, it doesn't seem like there's quite so much of these really obvious like lines to build your decks along in this one.
Like my deck wasn't perfect, but I feel like it all fell together. Obviously I pulled Unit Maul, so that was like, well, I'll go with Leader Maul, but I also had Savage, who was all right, and Aura Singh was amazing, and she already has Overwhelm card. And she hits hard, and so she goes really well with Leader Maul. And then a bunch of like my cheaper units still had like hit for 4, which works with the Overwhelm, like the infiltrating Demolisher and Super Battle Droid. So I know what you're saying, because like until I landed on like Maul Yellow, I was like, I don't know how to go about this, and then I was like, oh, actually, all this seems to fit together pretty well.
And my obviously my opponent and I. Oh, sorry, Kurt. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just saying, yeah.
My opponent and I obviously were doing a lot of table talk and discussing the set, and we both kind of agreed that it seemed like this set is, from a design perspective, the most mature of the 3 so far. Like you can see the evolution of, hey, we made a good thing, let's make it cooler. We've got our rhythm down now, and we've got a really solid set now. Not that the first two were at all bad, they were great, but like you said, you have to think a little bit more at the outset, but then by the time you're done with it, you're like, oh, now I get it.
I'm excited to take cards from this set and go back to a couple of my favorite decks from before and see what I can fit in there. Because I had I really like my Space Leia deck, and there might be some new cards that are good for ground control. And also, like, I had an okay, obviously not great, Hunter deck. And now that there's a bunch more clones, including Echo, who already has a named card, there might be some new tricks to make a better Hunter deck.
You've got another Spectre for your Hera deck.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that too.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how it ends up gelling with the old sets. It was fun playing like a sealed where it was only the new set and like not worry about the old cards. I'm a little afraid that like the old cards won't really care about like tokens, like it won't help them much maybe, so they just won't mix. And I'm also afraid an old style deck will just like maybe they'll like remove the tokens too easily, or maybe tokens will really be good against those old decks that aren't used to dealing with them, I guess.
Not my space deck with Bombing Run. I was looking at all those droids and I said, I've only had Bombing Run in my hand.
I think at least looking specifically at having cards from the new set that are token production and how they're going to interact with older cards. Any cards that encourage you to defeat a unit, you're going to feel all the more comfortable doing that when it's a token, because then you'll be able to just poop out some more later.
Yeah, like Emperor Palpatine leader or something, right? Like I never used him in set 1 or 2. I was afraid to, but yeah, if you could just sacrifice a stupid droid, like that's perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like how the playstyles change to like how much you have to adapt to token play or not at tournaments. I felt like my easiest matches at pre-release were ones where the people didn't seem to like realize what my tokens were doing, and they like weren't clearing them off, and it was like, oh, I'm just getting coordinated all the time, this is crazy. My toughest ones were people were really going control and clearing them off instantly, and I was like, okay, now it's a little tough for me.
See, and that's one thing I loved about playing Maul is you can throw your guys into your opponent's tokens and still get some chip damage on their base.
Yeah.
And so that's why, like, I know at least at one of my matches, I was playing against a guy who went kind of heavy into trying to do exploit. So he's putting out lots of battle droids and then trying to exploit. But I had no qualms about just running into all those battle droids. So his deck was basically doing nothing. I mean, eventually he was able to play those bigger units, but he was playing them like way over curve instead of way under curve. And by the time he was finally hitting those, it was really kind of game over already.
Somehow, multiple times when I would use Maul to like take out a battle droid, then that would put him like something would happen where that one damage on him was just the right amount to put him in a killable range, and I was like, dang it, if only I had just hit the base directly.
Yeah, it's going to depend so much per leader too. Again, that's where I felt like there was a lot of depth. It's not just like all the separatists want to make a bunch of droids. Like getting the exploit with Dooku feels very different from getting free droids back with Newt Gunray versus like getting the like unit bonus with Wet Timbre or something. Like they feel like surprisingly different despite all just being separatist token guys, Yeah.
Did you guys play against any Quinlan Voss at all?
No. I did, and he was a lot more annoying than I expected based on previews. Like I thought, like, oh, that doesn't seem like that'll trigger that much, but like,
I mean, based on his one episode of the Clone Wars, that checks out.
Yeah, like the free damage he gets triggers a lot more than I expected, and like was killing stuff way more than I expected. That was the one match I lost at the first pre-release, and it was like so I don't know, kind of impressive in a way. I was like, wow, this is not what I was expecting from this guy. He does seem really good.
Yeah,
Hmm.
my match I played against Quinlan, I won the initiative toss at the beginning, but I let him have it just so
That's smart.
um uh he
Because you
was,
probably both play a 2 cost, right? And he gets a free damage on it.
yeah.
I
um
think part of it too, one thing that struck me is since he gets it, it's a free trigger, it's not an action later. And like that really keeps him fast too, compared to some other
yeah,
things.
it's the same as like
Bo-Katan or something, right, has to take an action to do it.
yeah, it's
So
the same as like Cad Bane's, where it's like
yeah,
when you play an underworld, exhaust him.
yeah. And I thought like, oh, that'll be not as good as Cad Bane because like the cost isn't going to line up that much, but it lines up a lot. And then for sure, once they flip him, then it's so easy to trigger it all the time. So yeah,
Yeah, I didn't realize that at first when he flipped it and he played something that was more than mine, and then he's all like, there, and then I do a damage and kill your guy. I'm all like, what? No, that's different costs. And he's all like, no, when I flip, I I can have different ones. I was like, oh, that's bullshit.
yeah.
Oh, and before I forget to say it, I'm pretty sure I won my match thanks to Leo telling me stop playing like it's Magic the Gathering. You need to do your attacks before you lose your guys, and then worry about stocking the board at the end of the turn.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
I learned that pretty quick playing Yellow Sabine in set one. It was like the first thing I do is get their attack off because otherwise they're gonna die, and I won't get that.
Yeah, I could definitely tell that with some of the newer players. It seems like this set has brought out some people to the game for the first time, you know?
Yeah, we had quite a
And
lot of new faces at our pre-releases.
yeah. And uh yeah, I mean you could tell that they don't have that optimization down. I mean, like I think no one does when they first start out, right? Definitely saw some cases where it's like, oh, yeah, like I'm thinking to myself that that Grievous should have put that Sentinel on like right away instead of later on. Different stuff like that. That's not
Mhm.
the order. Not that I do a perfect order all the time, obviously, but yeah, that's something you can really tell the experienced players have a better feel for.
Um, that is the one thing that I find really exciting with this set is just the number of, not only there was a fairly good number of people we hadn't seen before participating in the pre-release, but there was a couple other just groups of people that we'd never seen in before, just in there buying pre-ordered cards and stuff too.
Hmm.
It would be nice if they would come to events to the stores and participate with us, but no matter where they're doing it, I'm glad to see more players playing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I felt like overall there was just a lot of excitement. Our first pre-release up here was 25 players, which is the biggest local tournament I've been to. The second one I went to was only 9 players, but still that was like a lot of excitement on that first day and people really having fun opening and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, I think that ended up being, I think that was actually even bigger than our like set one pre-release, because I think we had like 22 or 24 at that one. So
yeah, it sounds right.
And I know I mentioned, well, I've said several times that at my event, it was just me and one other guy, but it was a Sunday event. And I thought we'd get a lot of people who had gone to like a Friday and a Saturday and were going to hit up the Sunday also. So I was very surprised to only have me and the other guy. And this is at my store where I go way too frequently and I give them too much of my money already. But like I assist with the judging for Unlimited because our tournament organizer, he knows Magic, he doesn't know this as well. So that's why I specifically went there, but also had other stuff going on.
Well,
There were plenty of other ones in the area that had a lot of people,
Yeah.
and I'm sure the garbage store run by the garbage person that was hosting the planetary qualifier the week prior had a lot of people at their garbage store.
yeah, that's what I was gonna
I
say.
like
I was
how
gonna say that.
anonymous that wasn't. That narrows it down.
Yeah, I was gonna say your store that you like isn't like the main Unlimited store in town.
Yeah, no,
No,
it's not.
so it's, I guess, not surprising that there wasn't as many people there. So
Yep. But we did just I say we as if I work there. I pay them, I guess. You can think of it that way. They just finally got rentership, ownership, tenancy of the next door facility vacancy that was like an H&R Block. So now they have knocked a hole in the wall and we're expanding our space, and we should have a whole bunch more play area soon. So hopefully that does something to get more people in the door.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be cool.
Yeah, there were 12 at ours.
And this is
That's
you
not
went
bad.
into
That's a good number.
went into Sioux Falls. This wasn't actually in Madison, right?
Correct. Everything I do is in Sioux Falls, unless noted otherwise. There was an attempt at a community in Brookings, from what I could see, but I haven't gotten up to Brookings yet.
Hmm.
Even though
Do
it's
we-
about the same distance away.
Do we want to kind of get into stuff we pulled with our actual cards outside of the pre-release too? Good.
If it doesn't take very long, because we're gonna wrap this episode up. Give us a Kirk. Give us a elevator pitch of your polls.
Not much. I would say the best thing I got. Yeah, I had high hopes. I really wanted like Darth Maul unit. I didn't get any. I didn't get any showcases. Jealous of everyone's cool showcases. The best thing I got a couple copies of Clone, which was cool to get, and they were hyperspace and hyperfoil, so that's cool too. I don't know. I got several random legendaries, but they mostly weren't the ones I really wanted. But I also got fewer cards than a lot of people, so I'll just have to get them over time, I guess.
Yeah, I surprisingly, after we opened it all up, realized there were only 4 cards I had 0 of, which cost me about $7 on TCG Player, as opposed to last set. I think there was like 10 that cost me like $80. I got 2 Cad Banes, which I was happy about. I got 3 Mauls, which I was happy about,
Yeah.
and 2 Grievuses. So that was kind of. I think we got 2 Ahsokas, so I was kind of pretty happy with that because we got 4 boxes. I mean, last time we got 3 boxes and 2 showcases, but this time I was looking through. I got 3s of most of the rares somehow, and like didn't like get 4 of like any except like 3 of them. So it just all sort of like fell into place, it seems.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, and I got all the leaders. The past sets, I was always missing like a rare leader or a rare base. But
Ended up, I've got at least 2 of every legendary.
Jeez.
I did get a couple of them in hyperfoil. I got Cad, I got Ayla, I got Planetary Invasion in hyperfoil. Hooray!
Yeah.
I don't think I got any legendary hyperfoils this time.
Let's see.
Got a brainworm hyperfoil.
Ooh.
Got a lot of pretty hyperfoils, but I don't think any of them are.
I got a Maul
legendary.
hyperspace, but I don't think I got a hyperfoil of him. Yeah. So, I'm out overall. I'm really happy with what I got. Yeah, and I got 2 showcases out of that all. I got an Obi-Wan, an Obi-Wan and a Maul showcase, so can't complain about either of those. Just thematically, the two look great together. And I'm been theory crafting a Maul deck. Right now, the deck has like about 100 cards in it, though, so I need to narrow that down a little bit.
Yeah, I was working on a Maul deck after my pre-release, and then I just was like, I'm going to throw together a Jedi deck with Obi-Wan, and now I've been kind of stuck on that, refining it, and been having fun with it. Evan, any newsworthy things from your boxes, your pull, your
well, there was
whatever you did?
aforementioned Hyperfoil Resolute.
Yes, that was very cool to see. I'm just looking at the rares and legendaries on the official website right now, and the only leader that I did not get was Wat Tambor.
I might have some extras.
Oddly enough, he's the
I'll
one.
need one in like a month. I can mail you one.
He's the one rare leader I got a ton of. Like I've got
Leo can send you.
I've got my multiple copies in my binder. I've got my multiple copies in my deck building box. And I still had about 6 extra copies left over, even after setting aside everything I want to keep. I ended up having like six for that are just going to go in the bulk box.
I think Rex and Pre-Vizsla were the only rare leaders I only got one of. It's like the first two sets, I was always like, oh, I need
doubles of that.
No, I do need. I got hyperspace leaders of everyone in set 1, so I'm like, I should do that again.
I haven't got any. I didn't get any hyperspace Rex. He's the only one I didn't get a hyperspace of. Hyperspace Yoda looks really cool. I like that one a lot.
Oh yeah. And I'm sure it's not as big of a deal as it seems, but I was extremely happy to get Leader Palpatine. That card is just, I don't know, it's got so much going on. It might suck, but I want to see it in action.
Yeah, it's not a bad leader, but it's not. He's not going to be top tier, I don't think. But you can definitely do some really neat stuff with him.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'll shut up after this one. But when I pulled Pow City, I was also extremely intrigued by it, since it calls out having multiple leaders. I'm like, oh, okay, and you're 26, not 25. It's interesting. Well, sure, let's give that a shot.
Well, just any of those ones that with leader just are written with language so that they work with multiple leaders, not just one. So
yeah, those all are probably going to be okay-ish in Twin Suns.
Yeah,
like I was using that 26 with my Maul, and it seemed really cool for him, but I don't know if it's the right choice. It's probably better just to have 4 more health on your base.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. It depends. I mean, there's some stuff like having that 1 more damage on like, Sabine or something like that just puts so many more things in kill range for her when she attacks. And same thing. There's a couple other leaders where that 1 extra suddenly will make your leader be able to wipe a lot more stuff off the board than they originally were able to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, of the rare bases, I think that one's probably the best of the 4. I think, anyways.
Well, I'm glad I got it then.
All right, everybody. That is going to do it for this episode of the Jodo Cast. Let us know how you did at your pre-releases, or what leaders you pulled, what you were playing, all that sort of stuff. And if you got more coming up, because looks like there's still a few more happening. Hopefully this episode gets up pretty quick. Thanks everybody for joining. Thanks for playing Star Wars games.
Thanks
the
for
only thing
being
that matters.
Extra thanks to YouTube members and any Patreon patrons who are listening or watching.
Yeah, we're
Yay, patrons.
thinking about. I'm gonna go. We might be doing probably going to be doing a webcam league soon with some fancy prizes. Question mark. And yeah, we might be coming up with some other stuff too to involve the patrons and like voting on what decks we should use in videos or things like that. We'll see. If you want your voice heard, give us money. Or don't. You can just join our Discord for free, and it's awesome. Join us on Discord. You can find the link on our website or in our YouTube descriptions and stuff. All right. Any other closing remarks?
I got nothing.
I move to end the episode.